Welcome. I'm Diane Bowdoin. I'm with Keller Williams. I've been a realtor there for nearly 10 years. I work with both buyers and sellers, and today I'm going to talk to you about prepping your home for sale, whether you're looking to sell in this market or maybe thinking about selling 3 to 5 years from now. The topics we're going to cover for the preparation include decluttering. And that's a big step in getting your home ready to sell. Staging, we'll talk about virtual versus professional. Bulletproofing the transaction. What I mean by that is getting ready for the inspection so there are not deficiencies on the inspection, minimizing those deficiencies. And what repairs and updates are really necessary. You might be thinking, in this market, I've heard you really don't have to do much, which is true. It's a great seller's market. However, we want to get the highest and best price for your home. You're almost certainly going to get an offer on your home, but we want the highest and best offer. So there's some things to do that will help achieve that. And then we'll talk about how we promote your home best through photographs and marketing, and some paperwork that's important to gather if you're getting ready to sell. So the entire prep process. We'll start with decluttering, and whether you're downsizing or upsizing, we all have stuff we can get rid of. Certainly if you're downsizing, you may have more items that you need to consider letting go of. Think about what you really want in your next home. If you've been in your home a long time, like this cartoon shows, man who's talking to his son and has all his treasures just stacked in the garage. Sometimes it's hard to let go of some of those things that we consider treasures or we consider valuable. And I'm going to give you some tips on that. It's actually one of my specialties is decluttering. Simplest method, this is a great place to start, is simple but works, the sticky note method. So if you're feeling a little immobilized, don't know where to begin, a little overwhelmed, get your sticky notes out and just mark items as I'm going to keep them, toss, donate, sell, or give to a family member. I want to mention that if you plan to give it to a family member, check with that family member. That painting or old secretary you may think that they'll really value, but they may not have the place for it. And they may tell you that, hey, I don't want the painting, I don't want the book collection. So find those things out now. When I work on prepping a home with a seller, I usually walk through with the seller and give them a customized list of items to tend to after walking through the home. And what I'm going to do today is just look at some photos of some rooms and tell you some of the tips that we often discuss for preparation. This seller worked at home, and it's a beautiful study with lots of woodwork. But when I first visited the home, you couldn't see the woodwork. There were papers on the desk, there were sticky notes, and all kinds of mail and things like that even on the bookshelves. So what the solution here was to get a file that you can see in this photo is on a rolling cart, get those papers organized and into that file so that if for showings, he actually was able to wheel that away into a closet, and it just looked beautiful. Like he wasn't even working there. As this is a tough spot when especially if it's a work area for you. Your closet should be spacious. And if you stuff everything in the closet to get it out of the way, then it's going to look like you don't have much storage, which is really important to buyers. So my suggestion is take non-seasonal items, clothes that you're not wearing, go ahead and pack them up. You can pack them in tubs. Many sellers will put their items boxed and start packing in the garage. That's perfectly okay. Buyers really don't dwell on that if they know you're moving. So it's a good idea to get those non-seasonal items out. And of course, anything you're going to let go of, get rid of it before showings. Bathrooms. Countertops should be clear. Obviously, the buyers don't want to see your toiletries on the counter. They don't want to see even a toothbrush sitting there. So all the personal items, what I suggest is get a couple of totes and bins. Just think back to maybe college days or something like that, where you may have toted off some your toiletries to the shower on the hall, and tuck those away either under the cabinets or in a closet, and bring them out when you need them, because you want to look like you have counter space. And plus, they don't want to see those items. Maybe just a nice soap dispenser on the counter is about all you need. I do need to mention in the shower, same thing here. You don't want all your shampoos and stuff in the shower. Get a little tote, bring them out when you need them. It's a little inconvenient, but valuable. I do want to mention that this doesn't need to be updated, but it needs to be clean. And in fact, in this case, new grout or regrouting these areas may really give you bang for your buck. It's worth doing, worth the effort. We all love our pets. The buyers don't necessarily want to see the pets. Some are even allergic to pets. So you want to get rid of pet bowls, pet toys, pet beds, as much as possible. We do know the pets. If you're still living in the home, the pets are there too. So you also need to think about how you're going to make arrangements for your pets during showings. Do they need to be contained? If you have a dog, most buyers are kind of leery. They don't know your dog. Could be just a sweetheart, never bite or hurt anyone or jump on anyone, but they don't know that. So they're gonna not want to go in the yard if the dog is running loose. They're gonna be not want to go into a room where a dog is running loose. So creating them or putting them maybe in a dog run, make arrangements for your pets. This kitchen is ready to show. And the reason I say that is counters are relatively clutter-free. You want to clear your counters in the kitchen. It should, we all tend to have a lot of appliances these days, from the blenders and the cappuccino machine and the toaster, but you need to tuck some of those away because it looks too cluttery. You want to look like you have a lot of counter space. Remember, the kitchens and bathrooms sell your home, so this is really key. It is nice to have a little pop of color in the kitchen. This island is a great pop of color, but another thing is a basket of fruit is another way to just add a little pop of color, but keep it clear. And this may sound odd, but you want to look like no one lives in the home and you don't have a trash can. They don't want to see your trash can when they walk in the kitchen. So at least for the photos, try to tuck those into the garage or utility room so that they're not the focus of the room. The other thing that really adds quite a bit is bedside tables or side tables with lamps, because ambient lighting is important. The realtor, when they show a home, they're going to come in, they're going to turn on the lights, the overhead lights, but they won't touch the lamps. And the lamps sometimes have the nicest quality of lighting, just the softness about them. So I have the lamps, light bulbs working and ready to go. I want to take a moment to mention, if you have something like these beautiful draperies in your room and you decide you want to keep them, it might be a good idea to take them down before showings, or at least put them on the exclusion list, because buyers may fall in love with them and then they'll expect to see them in the home, because typically your draperies and blinds will stay with the home. These rugs in the bathroom look nice and plush, utilitarian. However, small rugs tend to cut up a room, and your room will look larger if you remove them. So we suggest removing them. You're ever going to want to roll up the bath mat and get it out when you need to use it. But take those out of the room. Also, buyers sometimes think there's something hiding under those rugs. So as far as photo collages, personal items like trophies and certificates, you want to depersonalize so that people visualize, the buyers that are touring, visualize seeing themselves in that home, visualize living in the home. The other thing I note, since I work with both buyers and sellers, is so many buyers when they start thinking about the houses they saw that day. They'll remember maybe the cute little boys fishing in the photos, but they won't remember the details of the home. So that's a hard thing to do, but pack those treasures up for your next home. Okay, that's just a touch on some things, getting rid of some things in the home as part of the prep process. Another part is to make sure you're maintaining and repairing small items. We're not doing major work. We're looking at items with the greatest return on investment. And if you're staying in your home for a while, then you can consider, yes, it's okay to do updates that you're going to enjoy, but you won't get 100% return. So, but these are some things that really give you a lot of bang for your buck. Fresh paint, refinishing a front door, light fixtures and fans. Sometimes if you got a wobbly fan in a room and it's an old fan, it might be worth replacing, or light fixtures in key rooms like a living area or over a kitchen island may be worth replacing because they can really make a difference without a lot of expense. Exterior upgrade, spots of color. I like to power wash the sidewalks and driveways. I usually get a home warranty for my sellers, and you can use the, with some home warranties, you can actually get a discount on power washing and window washing, which really makes a difference in the look of your home. We're going to talk a little more about that fresh paint because that can make it look, really change it, and you get a fantastic return on that. Here's a little bit about return on investment. Of all things, believe it or not, a front door, you get the greatest return on replacing your front door than just about anything else if it's in poor condition, especially if it's an insulated front door. 128%, you don't see that very often. Of course, adding a bedroom, like an attic bedroom. Sometimes you got to keep in mind if you have a study and it has a closet, you can actually list it as a potentially another bedroom. If you have 3 bedrooms in the study, it could be a possible 4th bedroom, depending on how they use it, and that adds value. And a kitchen, but notice kitchens, people love kitchens. However, if you're not going to live in the home and enjoy those updates, you're only going to get about 72% on the average back. You're not going to get 100% back. So I'm not telling you to go out and update when you're prepping to sell right away. Here's a little more information on return on investment. Refinishing hardwood floors has a huge return. Roofing, because you've got to insure a roof. And if it's an older roof, it's hard to insure. So those are all big things. Garage doors. And again, the kitchen upgrade, you don't get your full return. So hardly anything you get 100%. So it's not a good idea to update, but simply focus on maintenance and some polishing. So let's get back to the paint, because that's a big one when it comes to changing a look in an inexpensive manner. It's best to focus on neutrals. Grays were popular for a while, and they still are, but the warm and cool tones are both popular. In fact, even grays, which is kind of an in-between, has become popular now. So the best thing to do if you're going to paint is use a neutral color that will appeal to the masses. And I know that punches of accent colors, like a beautiful aqua, they're sort of in now, but you don't want to do that when you're getting your home ready to sell. If you already have an accent wall, I'm not telling you to paint over it, but don't add an accent wall. Keep it all neutral if you're just painting to sell. The 2 colors, accessible beige and agreeable gray, are Sherwin-Williams colors. They're sort of around this tone here, and they're real popular neutrals. Just suggestions. We mentioned the front door. The front door is the first impression. So the reason that's important is the agents out there opening up the super. It takes at least a minute to get in the house. So they're standing there just staring at that front door. It should be in very good condition. I like this one, had a little punch of color, the red. It was a home on the water, a lake house, so it just seemed appropriate to have those nautical colors. Also, you want a welcome mat. You want mats at both your front and back door. not only they look nice and they're welcoming, but they help protect your home as people are going to be treading through for showings. One of the things people do getting their homes ready to sell is lay out some mulch, and that's a great thing. But if we're going to bulletproof the transaction, which means get it ready for the inspection so you have very few deficiencies noted, this is something you want to keep in mind. Soil's not supposed to be touching the brick, not supposed to be too high. So if you add in mulch, make sure it's not built up too high covering the brick or siding on a home, because that's considered conducive condition for wood destroying insects. And a termite or wood destroying insect inspector will note that. Same thing with this, looks pretty growing up the side, this vine growing up the house. However, that'll be flagged in an inspection. So you don't want any foliage or touching the house or tree limbs touching the roof. Get rid of dust. And this sounds like a little thing, and it is a little thing. It's not going to be a deal killer if they have it. You have a dirty air filter on the inspection, but it's going to tell the buyers, they're going to think, well, they don't maintain the home. Here they're selling it and they don't even clean their air filter. So it will help your air conditioner perform better. So you want to change, this is an old style of air filter because of an older home. But you want to change your air conditioner filter. You want to get that exhaust for the dryer and make sure you clean out the lint, because those will be noted on inspection. And again, they're not deal killers, but they're little things you can fix easily. Do you have any dripping faucets? This can maybe be attended to with a seller home warranty, or if you get a handyman, if you have several that are dripping, they may just need to change the washer or something simple. A handyman may be able to do them all very inexpensively. If you're in a transaction and a buyer says, I want these leaks fixed, and they're negotiating repairs, if you agree to do those, you'll have to bring in a professional licensed plumber according to the contract. So sometimes using a handyman for little things ahead of time saves you money in the long run. Lighting is extremely important. I mentioned changing lights over the island, but changing light bulbs and making sure they're all working. I like long-lasting LED bright lights. People love natural light. If you don't have natural light, next best thing is that your lighting. The other thing is when an inspector comes through, if the light isn't working, say the light's out in the closet, they're not gonna carry a light bulb around. They're just gonna say it's deficient. You won't know if it's electrical or simply a light bulb. So change all your light bulbs. Clean those light fixtures. Photography really matters. So I like to go to the house when the photographer's there, although we give you some tips before they come, and the photographer sometimes sends tips as well. But you usually want all the lights on. Sometimes the photographer will turn some off in key rooms if it's better lighting, but they decide that. Fans are supposed to be off because they don't like the motion in the photos. But if you have that under cabinet lighting, you may want to turn those on, because that is a nice feature that may not be noticed otherwise. Get rid of little things like cell phones, cleaning supplies. Those things shouldn't be laying around. And again, the photographer will not do that. You need to pick those things up and put them away. Holiday decor, not that there's anything wrong with the holidays, but sometimes it dates your listing. Let's say your list at the end of October and you have pumpkins and ghosts and goblins in your front yard, and you move on into November. Those photographs are going to be dated. So, keep pets out of the way during the shoot. Open your blinds. You want the light coming in, the natural light. The photographer will make the call if they're going to open that window so that you can see the view. If you have a beautiful backyard, or maybe a lake view, or the outdoor kitchen, they may want that shown in the photo and open the window. And sometimes that's a decision that the listing agent will make too, and actually tell the photographer they'll take a special type of photograph of rooms where they want to see out into the yard or outside beyond the window. You want to take down flags, hoses, equipment, get them out of the way, put away your garbage bins, and of course, move your vehicles. If you leave a vehicle in the driveway, the photographer will not be able to get a shot from the street, which gives a different view of the house. So you want to move your vehicle out of the way of the house. So photography really matters. I think some of these unique shots are worth it, such as an aerial. If you're showing off a land in the backyard, or maybe you've got this tiny homes on a lake, this house is surrounded by water, it gives a different view for the buyer and draws their eye. Twilight shots also draw the eye. Now, it's important, the first 3 photos kind of grab the buyer's attention. They have to be really stellar. A twilight shots usually grab more attention than a plain shot. In this case, I like this. This is the same home down here, and I like this side of the home because there's less garage featured. However, all these bushes in the way didn't allow a really good shot from that side. That would have been a better side to take the twilight from if the bushes were trimmed up. Here's another example. See how it draws your eye? It's a great leader photo, one of the first few. Keep that buyer looking. I also like to include photos in the neighborhood that are that show the amenities. If you've got amenities in the neighborhood, show it off, because buyers are buying a lifestyle too. I always include captions on my photos. I think that they tell the story of the home, and they're very important. Staging. Sometimes I work with professional stagers, and they do bring more value to you. However, this market is so fast and furious. We've been doing a lot of virtual staging where you drop in the furniture. I do have a great virtual stager that takes into account shadows and everything, so it looks so real. But let me just show you. See, you would have no scale to the room if your home is vacant. I can't tell how big it is, and this gives it some scale. You can tell what will fit in that room. It's just more appealing. It also tells a little bit about function. You can tell in this kitchen there's room for a dining space. Here's another example of there's a bedroom, looks like a box. Okay, those empty bedrooms had not much to them, so sometimes dropping in, especially in the master, dropping in furniture just gives a lot more appeal. Use those photos strategically. I use them for advertising on Facebook, for open houses and things new to the market. Coming soon. I do like to do coming soon, which is showing the home and marketing really to the agents. Can't show it to the buyers yet until it's active, but it's a good way to, first few days, just create a little frenzy. Okay, that's a little bit about what you can do to promote your home through photographs, etc. And one of the things I do before coming to a listing appointment is send documents, such as the seller's disclosure, so the seller can get started on it. We have a service called Seller Shield, which helps explain the seller's disclosure, every step of it, and it actually helps the seller fill that out. It's really important. It protects the buyer and the seller, probably the seller even more than the buyer. And beyond the transaction, if there's every dispute about what may have been left out of the seller's disclosure or incorrectly provided, then you can actually get insurance through Seller Shield for those kinds of disputes. That's optional, of course. I like to get information on the updates and upgrades. I like to ask my sellers, what is it they love about their home? What are their favorite things? And what attracted them to the home? Because that all can be used in my marketing. Get a list of exclusions. One thing buyers will do right before they make an offer, often, especially now when rates are going up, is they'll ask for the utility bills, the high and the low. I like to have that information handy in case they ask. So arm your agent with as much information as possible. Gather, look for your survey if you have one. And there are 3 sources that can be used for a square footage source. A reliable source can be an appraisal, a builder plan, if you happen to have one of those, or the appraisal district. You can use any one of those sources. Sometimes they vary just a tad. Any warranties that you might have, for example, if you've been treating for termites or if you had maybe foundation work and you have a warranty, it's really important to provide those to your agent and make some keys for them. Get ready to show. Let's take a minute. We talked about prepping. I want to take a minute before looking at your questions to talk about selling options in today's market. We have options. One is an iBuyer, and when I say Keller Williams Northeast offers what's called Keller offers. Keller offers will come in and give you an immediate cash offer. Within 72 hours, you can find out what that cash offer is, and you can close in a flexible timeline. You don't have to worry about showings while you're living in the home, and you can decide whether that's something you want to do. I can always bring you that offer to see what it is. The disadvantages is typically with an iBuyer, you don't have anyone on your side, but with Keller offers, you actually have an agent working with you, which is kind of nice. But you often net less than if you put it on the market and have competition going. It's just a lot less hassle. So you have to weigh the pros and the cons, but I can actually give you that number so you can make that decision. And this just tells you a little bit more about it. You don't have to worry about open houses. You close on your own timeline, you get a cash offer, and you know exactly what you're going to get when you make that decision. We also have a program, a partner, that allows you to buy, move, and then sell. So if you're moving to another home, this could be really nice. They buy your home for you with cash. You buy it back after your home closes. So if that's something you might be interested in, we can talk more about that. I appreciate you tuning in today. I want to encourage you to reach out to me. Any questions that you might have, I'm going to look at questions in the chat here in a moment. But I do want to, if you just want market updates, analysis of your home's current value, I listed decluttering tips. I have a great list for that, more details. Or if you want to make a listing appointment, write down my number. Feel free to call me or email me, and I'd be happy to reach out.